You're watching CNET, the digital domain.
Last year, the software industry churned out an astounding 123 million boxes of software, millions of which never sold.
Yet every 6 months or so, the software publishers revise their editions and create even more software. So what happens to the millions of boxes filled with out-of-date diskettes and CD-ROMs?
They used to go straight to landfill, where they're sometimes pirated back onto the streets and resold. But now one ambitious company in Silicon Valley is turning a lot of that high-tech trash into some big-time cash. It's the world's most sophisticated compost pile, where tens of thousands of boxes of unsold software go to be destroyed and recycled.
So you're taking all the stuff that at one time went into landfills, and everything is reused.
Steve Trotter of Trotter Technologies has cut into a lucrative market. By breaking down software bundles into individual components, Trotter has managed to make a bundle.
Okay, what we have here are all the spines that we're cutting off the books, really for two reasons. Number one, fiber's fiber, so everything is recyclable. The spine part is recyclable. We're going to separate the book covers off of this, that's recyclable, and also what we're really after is the center of the book, which is the manifold white ledger, which is the highest recyclable piece of paper.
Trotter goes through about 600 to 800 tons of paper each month. An outside mill recycles it back into paper, but if you prefer plastic, wait till you see what they do with that.
Now, the CDs will be put into one location. We'll separate out the jewel cases because it's a different grade of plastic than the CD itself. We'll separate out the tray from the jewel case because it again is another different grade of plastic. And then the CDs will be ground up for its plastic content also.
Trotter grinds about 1 million CDs a month. The granules are sent to a polymer company which turns them into other low-grade plastic products. And finally, even the diskettes are recycled.
The diskettes will be separated and brought into the processing room where we will then remove the labels, degauss them, and recertify them so they can be used for more software.
And the whole process starts again. Trotter says destroying perfectly good software is a small price to pay for most companies.
The software publisher is not selling you these boxes of software you see here. What they're selling you is the intellectual property inside that box. So the cost to them of these boxes is relatively small, and the competition for selling this is really high.
Trotter says he can hardly keep up with the enormous amount of software coming in. Right now, the company is only accepting software from large distributors, but if the idea catches on, someday ordinary consumers like you and me will be able to turn their soft goods into some hard cash.
CDs, floppies, and boxes aren't the only things being recycled these days. Retired IBM engineer Bruce Buckalow has taken the concept a step further. His innovative program rebuilds entire computers and gives them to kids who need them. Oakland Technical High School has a secret. Deep beneath the classrooms is a chamber few people know about.
Well, this used to be the storage room for Oakland Tech, but now it's the Oakland Technology Exchange.
Wow. This looks like a scene out of Raiders of the Lost Ark or something.
It gets better.
The computer graveyard. Wow.
Well, yeah, but we resurrect them here also.
There must be 1 million computers here.
Close.
Okay, so maybe not 1 million, but the concrete dungeon known as the Oakland Technology Exchange, or OTX, houses thousands of CPUs, mountains of monitors, and cartons of keyboards, all waiting to be recycled.
Kathy and Joe, there's monitors in the back.
Rory Wilcove runs the OTX program. So there must be a lot of companies, businesses that just have lots of computers to give away?
Well, they upgrade, so they don't need it anymore. And it's not just companies, it's individuals. I get 2 or 3 calls a day from individuals, and they give us a lot of stuff. Of course, companies would give us maybe a couple of hundred of them at a time.
You know, this place is in a basement, but it's overrun with mice. But mice are the least of this guy's worries.
We get everything that people don't want. Some of the stuff is like, we don't even know what this is. I can tell you this, it deals with some kind of microwave. And I have no idea what it is.
Oh, this is an electrostatic quasi-coupler.
That's exactly what
I think. All of this stuff might normally be thrown in the trash. Instead, the students in the OTX program clean, repair, and reformat the computers so they can be used in classrooms throughout the entire district. And many of the students leave the program with their very own computer, or a job, or both. And what are you doing here right now with this computer?
We're trying to set the IP number for this system before we install it to the classroom.
Do they pay you for this?
Yeah.
They should. How tough would it be for these kids to find computers if it weren't for the program?
Well, you know, we're in a low-income area, so it would be next to impossible for these kids. What they do is they earn a computer working down here. So every hour they put in here is towards a computer, and then when they reach a certain amount of hours, they can then start to earn printers and modems, and some of these kids have built tremendous systems.
Wilcobe says with a lot of hard work, anyone can start a recycling program, as long as they remember two things.
One thing I would always say is, number one, students come first, and number two, never say no. We never say no. If we can't use it, we find somebody who can. If nobody can use it, we recycle it.
You know what this place looks like? Remember, Gina, from the last scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the guy's carting off that crate into this huge warehouse?
All the stuff?
It's bigger than that. I never even saw every corner of this joint. It's just astounding. Each year, OTX puts more than 1,000 computers into classrooms and 200 into homes. You can find out more information about the program at our website, cnet.com.
Coming up, get ready for adventure while we go traveling on this week's Best of the Web, and we'll show you a mouse that sets your hands free.
Net News is sponsored by IBM Solutions for a Small Planet.
Database giant Oracle and TV news king CNN have joined to offer netizens customized news online. Larry Ellison and Ted Turner announced the new co-branded custom news site last week, vowing it'll reduce information overload for netizens. The site uses push technology to tailor news for specific users at no charge. It's promised to be faster than MSNBC's similar service. Oracle's Larry Ellison has another project up his sleeve that he says will blow the doors off Microsoft's Web TV. It's a network computer with television capabilities for the consumer market. Oracle's already trying out some standard network computers in the business market. They're stripped-down, low-cost computers that rely on big main servers to store the software and data. The new NCs with TV will sell for about $500 and should ship in the fall. The buying and selling of domain names on the net is becoming an increasingly lucrative business, and the value of coveted net addresses reached new heights last week with one record-setting sale. The address business.com fetched a record price of $150,000. A Texas-based company bought the name through a reseller, idnames.com. Domain names are all originally sold for an initial $100. There's a new destination online just for kids. It's from TV powerhouse Nickelodeon. Nick.com is now on the net with games, trivia, and jokes aimed at the web's smaller surfers. The site is free, unlike competitor Disney's Daily Blast, which costs $5 a month. Nick still has its old spot on America Online service. Junk emailer Cyber Promotions is stepping into court after taking its spamming a step too far once again. The spammer is now facing a class action lawsuit on behalf of all domain name owners on the net. The suit's being filed by Web Systems, a high-tech training ground for disabled persons. Cyber Promotions supposedly pirated the company's return address to send thousands of junk email messages. Spokesmen for Web Systems say it glutted their server, nearly forcing the business to shut down. For more about these stories and other high-tech news, come to www.news.com. Updated several times a day with everything you need to know about the digital world.
Thanks, Richard. It is now time for a bit of viewer mail. Now, we know things can get pretty confusing in this rapidly changing digital world, but help is on the way. As a matter of fact, she's right next to me. Here with us now is Sofie Formica with the Fact File.
Thanks, Gina. Well, security on the net is an ever-growing concern for both companies and individuals, and that's what this week's question is all about. JLS Bandy writes, "What is a firewall? I signed up for a service and was asked if I had a firewall. I couldn't answer the question." While firewalls are all about protecting information, most usually within a large company concerned about its confidential data, companies with an internal network will often also link it to the outside world. A firewall is set up between the two to prevent outsiders from getting in or employees from sending data out. Firewalls also help in preventing viruses by limiting software, video files and other information from coming into the network. And sometimes they're also used to govern bandwidth, preventing large files from being moved in or out, slowing down the network. Now, in cruising around the net, you may be asked from time to time whether you are behind a firewall. And that's because all of this gatekeeping will seriously affect the size and type of data you can download. But for most people accessing the net from home, firewalls aren't something you're likely to have to deal with. Now, if you're confused about any of the terms or technologies we feature here on CNET Central, we want to help. So send your question to the FACFile at cnet.com or through regular snail mail to the FACFile at 150 Chestnut Street, San Francisco, California, 94111. And if you want to know more about firewalls or the internet security, you can head on over to cnet.com and you'll find those FACFile addresses and each week's question and answer.
Stay with us because just ahead, we get our hands on the latest in foot gear for your computer and put them to the CNET test. And we'll go inside the virtual worlds of the web with the next generation in 3D technology.
Because the road we're talking about is the Info Highway, and the sites are good enough to make this week's Best of the Web. First, we join Mark, Megan, and Marvin the Road Dog on a trip across America. After their house burned down in 1993, this fearless threesome took to the road and cyberspace in their Phoenix One. Now you can keep up to date with them and their wild adventures on the web. Through digital journals and an interactive slideshow, you'll explore interesting eats, meet new friends, and visit some pretty cool places. And although some of these stops are your typical tourist traps, it's really the smaller, more quirky areas that make this website worth a look. Now, one place Mark and Megan won't want to miss on their journey is the Experience New Orleans website. Loaded with comprehensive travel information, the Big Easy is made tourist-friendly at this site. Jam over to the birthplace of jazz, take a tour of some New Orleans cemeteries, and dive into some Louisiana swamps. You won't want to miss their video highlights from Mardi Gras '97. As you can see, it was quite a bash. And for more New Orleans fun, check out the Big Easy's favorite author, Anne Rice, with a visit to her official homepage. This site offers everything imaginable for the Anne Rice aficionado. Take a tour of her Creole cottage on St. Charles Avenue, or her most recent book tour for Servants of the Bones. You can even get the scoop on future novels and CD-ROM projects. For more Best of the Web, head to cnet.com, where we also visit the Internet Underground Music Archive and an online store for purchasing rubber chickens.
Thanks, Gina. Even surfing the best of the web, you can get a little tired of clicking the left arrow, the right arrow, and those hyperlinks. So, Desmond Crisis is here from CNET Labs with a couple of solutions for those who would rather have their slippers do the walking.
Yeah, that's right. The ways to use your feet on the Internet. These are the rudder control system from Thrustmaster for flying planes, and Richard has the no-hands mouse for just about everything else.
Now, I'm still new. I've just been using this for a few minutes, so it's a little awkward yet, but let me explain. If you want the cursor to go up and down, you move your toes and heel back and forth. You wiggle left and right, and the cursor goes left and right. The left pedal is for clicking. The right mouse button is the heel. The left mouse button is the toes. I will click with the left mouse button now, and watch what happens on these menus at Netscape Navigator. I can move back and forth pretty much. Well, I'm still rough at this, but you know, it's not that hard to get used to.
Yeah, and it's even better for real applications. Aside from the browser, it's great when you're hammering away on any document or your email or whatever, and you realize you've messed up somehow, you misspelled something. You just go ahead and use your foot to go back to it and leave your hands right over the keyboard and just keep hammering away.
I'll have to take your word for that. Now, on the Thrustmaster, that's more for fun, and this is pretty much only for flight simulators.
Yeah, that's right. Just for planes, but every plane has them. Most computers don't, so it's a huge advantage. Richard, use your no-hands mouse to turn it on.
Get you started here. Now, move the rudder with your foot left and right, and let's see what happens to this airplane.
Okay, now you're looking at the airplane from the back. I'll level it out with the joystick here. I'll push in the right rudder, and you can see it banks off to the right or to the left.
Now, imagine you could make much more quicker moves this way. Yeah. Is it a real advantage against an opponent as a game player?
Absolutely. It gives you so much more maneuverability, and it's a real natural-feeling airplane control.
How much?
This is $149.95, the rudder control system from Thrustmaster, and the no-hands mouse has a street price of $199.95.
Now, that's steep. It takes some getting used to, but I guess if you have carpal tunnel syndrome or something which prevents you from using your hands, it's the only way to go.
And it's cheaper than therapy.
All right, more information on both at cnet.com on the World Wide Web. Desmond, thanks once again.
Thank you.
There's a revolution underway on the web, one that has the potential to change forever how we think about and interact with the online world.
Called three-dimensional virtual worlds, their popularity continues to grow, and they are fast becoming common sights. We asked CNET's Ron Reagan to check out some of these 3D sites and tell us what's going on.
3D worlds, they've become some of the hottest places to hang out on the internet. There's a lot of competition out there between the creators of 3D worlds, so we paid a visit to one of the virtual chat leaders, Worlds Incorporated, to find out what life is like in their virtual space.
Why 3D? What's so compelling about 3D?
Well, what 3D gives you is the ability to see other users on the site with you, so you can actually develop a relationship with someone online, see them, interact with them, and really have a fully immersive and exciting experience.
To get into these virtual 3D landscapes, you must first go to their website at www.worlds.net and download their special browser, Active Worlds. You can't just see these 3D worlds on Netscape or Internet Explorer. Once you get this downloaded into your computer, all you have to do is click twice to drop into virtual reality.
All right, Danny, take me on a little 3D journey here.
Sure.
How do we get into these worlds?
This particular world is called the Gate. And from this world, you can get to all kinds of different worlds that are currently online. Currently, there's 48 worlds.
Within Alpha World, users are welcome to build on any open plot of land they can find. There are over 200 objects to choose from in the directories.
Clearly, you have to develop a certain amount of savvy with this stuff before you can just start building things.
Yeah, it's amazing how quick people catch on.
If you're new to the worlds, you may want to explore what exists already before you decide what you want to build. For example, you can take a peek at Virtual Yellowstone Park.
So Yellowstone National Park, or Virtual Yellowstone, was created by a company called...
Let's not confuse the two.
Let's not confuse them, yeah. One will get
you've been here for too long.
One you'll get eaten, and the other one you're pretty safe.
Within the park, you can explore the magma chamber as well as seeing what Old Faithful looks like from the inside out.
Dangerous to go near the geyser.
Feel like talking back? Well, 3D lends itself nicely to the world of chat. There are many different areas to chat in, but I found some great advice in the Transcends world.
Where can I get a good pizza around here? We'll see just how savvy these people are. Yeah, good question. See? Already, you talk pizza, you get people.
You're gonna get a response.
Get people interested.
Throw something out there about beer now, and I think you got it.
Though you might think these virtual worlds are all American, there's actually so much interest from people around the globe that they've begun to create worlds that speak languages other than English, such as Spanish World. So what is this 3D virtual worlds craze really all about?
It is the multi-user experience. It is the ability to explore and discover something that someone else has created. 3D itself doesn't really make the difference. It's what's in there.
Thanks, Ron. It looks like fun, but I think I prefer it out here in the real world.
Be sure to visit our website, cnet.com. When you log on, it's updated frequently with information to make your computing experience a much better one.
This week, we'll show you how to use JavaScript to make your website much more interactive. Plus, don't miss our review of new PCs sporting the new 233 megahertz Pentium MMX processor. Very hot.
I'm going to wait till the 234s come out. Thanks again for tuning in and logging on.
Thanks for joining us this week on CNET, the digital domain.